So I've noticed there's a whole lot of discourse around Melty's defense. Melty Blood, type Lumina, with its fucking 3 crazy defensive option: Moon Drive, Heat, Moon Skill, whatever the fuck. I've watched a lot of Melty. It looks fun. Looks like you really have to finesse people on offense. Like, it looks like when you're on offense, there's a lot of things to think about from the defensive player, right? Whether that be wake up backdash, reversals of any kind, and then the actual 3 in-game defensive mechanics, which is tight. I mean, I come from Soul Calibur, right, where we also have a plethora of defensive options that all have goods and bads, all have ups and downs, uses, and weaknesses, right? And it got me thinking, seeing how people were really upset with Strive. Like, it's just funny to look at, because people were really upset with Strive and said this game has no defense at all. Like, the defense is I sit here and block and I die, or I fall as defense and my opponent gets plus frames, but it doesn't push them back far enough for me to get like a true advancing guard style whiff punish, which is untrue. You just have to know where to do it. And they're like, and people are like, IB's way too hard to be useful. IB is not something that you should think about in a normal sense. Right, and then of course there's Yellow RC. So people talk shit on Strive's defense, specifically say that Strive's defense is really bad, which I don't even know if I agree with. But people say that Strive has shit defense, and then they move over to Melty. A lot of newer players, maybe even people who just never tried a Melty build before, but they played other fighters, and they're like, dude, why is there like 4 defensive options, and why are they also you can't forget about shielding too. It's Moon Drive, Moon Assault, Heat. I'm sorry, Moon Drive, Moon Skill, Heat, and Shield. There's like 4. That's not really a lot when I think about it, because I come from Soul Calibur, where we also have, once again, a plethora of defensive options. And some of those even lock you into like RPS style things, just like Moon. I mean, just like Shield does, right? High shield, low shield. So there's 2 different ones, and they lock you into an FPS kind, an RPS kind of feeling thing, where it almost feels like it's just whoever makes the right read in that situation. There's of course other things you can do. You can do like a delay button to bait their re-shield immediately. You know, you can let them. You can like just go back and forth on re-shielding, no shielding. Or you can even go for like an unblockable attempt, right? I don't think that Melty's defense is like super obnoxious. Watching it, I've never actually played Melty, but watching it, I don't think that it's as obnoxious as you guys assume, right? It's just a more defensive game than Strive, and that happens in a lot of games, right? Like looking at Tekken's most defensive thing is the movement. Your most defensive, your defensive option you're going to the most, right? There's low parry, there's rage art, there's power crushes, and of course there's defensive stepping, right? Which is a form of movement. So your main defensive option is movement, right? And when you look at Tekken's damage is fucking huge. Sometimes you get hit twice, 3 times, and you fucking die. You die. The round is over, okay? Even with the 5 HP they added, or whatever it was, right? When you look at it in that sense, compared to Soul Calibur, where the damage is significantly lower, and there's significantly more defensive options that make you have to wait on your offense, just means that Soul Calibur essentially is a more defensive game, at least design-wise, than Tekken. Now, when you watch Soul Calibur and actually play Soul Calibur, not as defensive as it looks, but the mechanics would lead you to believe that. It would lead you to believe that Tekken is the more aggressive game, and that Soul Calibur is the less aggressive game, which on paper might have been true. But people have to turtle in Tekken, because if they don't, they die, and you can make significantly more mistakes in Soul Calibur unless you're near a ring edge, where it's usually a one-sided round, right? But we could even look at other games, right? We could look at Mortal Kombat X compared to Mortal Kombat 11. Mortal Kombat 11 has significantly more defensive options than Mortal Kombat X. Or Mortal Kombat X has armored moves and backdash. Mortal Kombat 11 has backdash, wake up attack, flawless block attack, fatal blow, which is armored. So armored move for fatal blow, right? And then breakaway. So I guess there's also combo breaker. Oops. How can I forget combo breaker, right? The Mortal Kombat classic. But looking at those 2 games, they're just built differently. One is built to be more aggressive, more rushdown, a lot of pressure, and the other is built to be very, very methodical, slow. Kind of think about your offense, you think about your defense, so that there's a lot more interactions going on. Saying that Melty's defense is too strong for the offense, even though people are already creating OSs to deal with shields, right? To deal with like moon drives and stuff like that, is crazy. I can see how it feels because I come from Soul Calibur where people, including myself, fucking we hate reversal edge, okay? We hate RPS mixed into our game off of parry. So shield, I guess, is kind of annoying, right? We also have GI, guard impact, and what's it called? Resist impact, which is the same thing, but it beats unblockables and break attacks, which is tight. There's so many defensive options in the game that a lot of the times you have to wait on your own offense. You don't get to just play the game one-sided and steamroll people most of the time. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with a game that's rich in offense, but okay in defense. A game like Guilty Gear Strive. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Guilty Gear Strive has bad defense at all. I rarely even use Yellow RC. I'm a big fan of instant block and faultless defense. I use them all the time. And I play Naga. I don't even know how the fuck I'm supposed to use Yellow RC. I could probably like Yellow RC Fukio forward into command throw. That's probably my best option. Have I ever done it? No. Have I learned to do it? No. And if I did, maybe I could have a real grasp on how good the defense is in Guilty. I think a lot of people, a game comes out, it's been out for maybe a few weeks, a month. And people judge it as if they are like the end-all be-all of a game. They judge the game super harshly, assuming that they know everything there is to know about that game. Offense, defense, mechanics, characters, balance, whatever. Strive has been out 3 months, right? 3 months already, maybe 4. And people are calling Strive's defense weak, offense too strong, Gatling's whack, finesse 0, right? There's no amount of finesse in the game, okay? And then people are saying the opposite of Melty, which is just funny to think about. But you know, people are saying the offense kind of sucks. There's not too much unreactable offense. All the defensive options kind of just shit on the offensive ones. Too much waiting on offense. It's been years since the crash, Beanie. It wasn't your fault. Please move on. Stop talking to your webcam. There's no one here. Damn. Does that mean everyone's dead? So did everyone die in the crash? Is that what happened? What up, Panda? We're talking about defensive mechanics in fighting games. And just defense in general. And how some games are built to be more offensive than others. Which is essentially okay. I see nothing wrong with having a game be more aggressive and more defensive. I like Soul Calibur, but I also like games that are way more rushdown oriented, like Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ defense, for the most part, is blocking. Blocking is your like best friend on defense. A lot of other defensive options will get you blown up. Stuff like DBZ games. Yeah, I guess so. Stuff other than blocking, a lot of times in Dragon Ball FighterZ will get you blown the fuck up. It just happens. They're good options. Right? They're good options when you mix them in. They're not good options in a vacuum usually. Because there's so many other factors that go into the layers of offense, like in a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ. They have so many rich offensive options that the defensive options that are good are very easily baited. And I think that Melty could end up being the same way, but the game's so new and fresh, people haven't had enough time to discover it. People have already started discovering OSs. Let the lab nerds do the work, or work yourself. Find the options, don't just complain about them, right? Unless it's like as egregious as year 1 reversal edge in Soul Calibur, I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it about defense. And I'm sorry if you're a fighting game player and all you did was practice your combos and your setups and your frame traps into big damage, and now you can't play the game because there's too many defensive mechanics for you to do that. A, play another game. B, layer your offense in a way where you can continue to run your offense the way you want to, but in a more structured manner around these defensive options. You just got to do it. Not every fighting game is going to be produced or manufactured the same. And by that, I mean the way that they're designed, right? Some games are going to be designed more offensive or defensive than others. It's just how it is. A lot of people who I see complain about fighting games are the casuals. Like a lot. Yeah, true. But I don't think casuals are usually the ones complaining about the defense in a game being too strong. I think, and even in that case, you have to admit, and even a lot of competitive players, a lot of pro players, complain about defensive options that are considered extremely strong in games. I don't know what's up with the average fighting game player not liking defensive options. I'm sorry you want to play Super Turbo, go play Super Turbo. And then you play Super Turbo and you're like, holy crap, I got stunned and then die. I was like, yeah, welcome to Super Turbo, bitch. Comeback mechanics in Soul, specifically the ones in Soul Calibur 6, they can be kind of egregious. And that's why I don't understand the discourse around Melty. Is I'm like, none of these are danger time from Strive. I mean, from Exert. None of these are danger time. Okay, none of these are Ultra from Street Fighter 4. None of these are fucking X Factor. Okay, or Soul Charge from Soul Calibur 6. None of the things that you guys are complaining about are nearly as egregious as these mechanics. I don't even hate Clash. I don't even hate Clash in Injustice. Some people hate Clash. It's like it slows down the game too much and it's just whoever built more meter. No, it's not whoever built more meter. It's whoever held more meter, motherfucker. You think he's in a Clash? Hold your meter so you can beat that motherfucker on Clash and then win the round. Don't complain about Clash. Clash, pretty fucking fair, okay? Pretty fair. Hold on to meter to play around Clash so when they go for the Clash, you can win, okay? I can't, you play around a lot of the layered offense, a lot of the layers of defense in Soul Calibur 6, waiting on offense, choosing delayed buttons, right? Or using a move that is reversal edge safe, preferably something that is all three of those things. Yo, if you have a move that's all three of those things and you built enough plus frames that your opponent cannot mash at you, godlike. Sick. There's not too many moves in the game like that, luckily, right? Or set up force block situations, restand situations, so your opponent can't roll around on the ground into a soul charge on wake up, right? They're they're forced to actually deal with your offense on the ground. That's tight. That's that good shit. You know what I'm saying? I think that the vast majority of fighting game mechanics, at least the defensive ones that we have currently in the game, that we have currently in games, are pretty fair. They're usually not so egregious that we should be complaining about them. Especially in new games, we should be learning how to play around things instead of trying to change them immediately. When a game's as new as Melty Blood is, and you're trying to change the way games work when they're that new, you haven't even learned the game. You haven't learned shit. Service 2K is like that on most characters' REs, not Nightmares and Aswell's. Aswell's RE is really slow, isn't it? I could see how it wouldn't work on Nightmares because his is one of the faster ones along with Sophitia, and it also is it's fucking large. It's so fat. It's one of the fattest REs in the game. I believe it might be the fattest. Maybe it's Astaroth, but his is just shit, so we don't think about it. But it might specifically be, it might be Nightmares, right? It differs on which mode he's in. Okay, so Sword, for sure, it probably wins, right? Because Sword is the fastest. I think Axe and Spear you can probably K2 and still step, or RI. And now that we have RI, Reversal Edge is even worse. It becomes another RPS of, are they going to fully hold it and I step, or are they going to let it go immediately and I RI them, right? Which is still kind of a canned situation that you get locked into along the lines of shielding and Melty, which people dislike. But I think like a lot of canned situations in fighting games are fine, right? It's weird that on defense we don't want canned situations, but on offense we're cool with it. We're like, hey, I get my plus frames here, and I'm so plus, my opponent has to guess between this overhead or low. Smiley face, right? But when the opponent's on defense and the opponent uses the defensive option on you, that leads to a, I don't know, it leads to a small follow-up, or it leads to you using being forced to use the defensive option back. They're like, why are we playing fucking heads or tails here, bro? This is stupid. And it's like, you just did that to me like 2 seconds. And then the next time you tried it, I used a guard impact or shield or a clash, right? Or an armored launcher. And now you have to guess, hey, whoa, he used an armored launcher. Do I have a 2-hit string here that's fast enough? Or did I go for a 1-hit string? Oh, I went for a 1-hit poke that's not fast enough to hit through this armor? Shit, look at that, I got launched. Mortal Kombat X in a nutshell for the early goings of it. Felt bad, felt super bad. Dang, I just realized my music's like really quiet now. I turned it down pretty low, to be fair. I'm trying to think of other games that are like really defensive that people can't think of any. I don't think anyone complains about Mortal Kombat 11 being as defensive as it is, like having such rich defensive options and regenerating defensive meter. I don't even see them complaining as often as I see current your discourse over. I don't get it. It might specifically just be because it's an anime game and anime players might hate blocking or something. I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion that anime players don't know how to block. That might just be what it is. But that would still be weird because in Strive they're saying defense is too weak. Bitch, how would you know defense is weak? Why are you ever blocking? You're an anime player, right?